Hey guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm gonna make my own homemade fresh lasagna noodles. I'm so excited. My name is Heather and I want to help you gain confidence in the kitchen and be able to make any recipe your own and have some fun with the process. So what we're gonna do to make our own lasagna noodles is we're gonna take 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of water, a half a teaspoon of salt, and give that a little stir. Make a little well in the center, and then add in 4 eggs. Break these up just a little bit. You can knead this by hand if you want to. Get yourself a little workout, work up a little sweat. Do that for just a couple of minutes until it becomes a little elastic. Or if you want to save yourself the sweat, you can knead it using your dough attachment.
The recipe I am going off of said you should only need to use your stand mixer dough attachment for just a couple of minutes. I definitely went longer than a couple of minutes and the dough still wasn't really coming together. So I poured it all out, splashed in a little bit of water, and then kneaded it by hand until I felt that it was all coming together properly. What I was looking for was the dough to all kind of stick together. So after kneading it for a bit and adding in a little more water, I got exactly that. Sometimes, no matter what you're making, you have to adjust. And it's just learning over time what that takes. I know that this dough needs to come together so that I can put it through my pasta attachment. And so I knew I needed to do something to bind the dough together better. Since it wasn't sticking together, I knew it wasn't flour that I needed, but instead something that's more of a binder. And I already had 4 eggs, so water seemed like the best option.
Form it into a ball. Huge ball. And I'm using plastic wrap. If you have one of those like beeswax wraps, you could use that as well. You just don't want any air getting to it because the air will cause it to dry out, making for some weird textures. Weird and not nice textures. And then we're gonna let that rest for 30 minutes. So then we're gonna unwrap our rested dough. Oh yeah, that has definitely set up well. And divide these into several pieces. And each piece is gonna be about the amount that we want for our lasagna. That's why you see them do it in like a So what you could do too, if you were that type of person, is weigh each individual piece and make sure it's all the same. I'm not that type of person, but if you are, no judgment. Live your best life. And then take the plastic wrap and wrap up all the pieces that you're not working with so that they don't form a crust. We're gonna give our pasta attachment a little head start just by flattening this out. So just making it a little flatter, and that's it.
And what you're going to do for this part is you're going to put the flattened sheets through at 1 3 times, and then 2 3 times, and then 3 3 times. And for lasagna noodles, you'll either use width 4 or 5. I went down to width 5. That's what felt right to me. Use your best judgment. In the end, thicker noodles just mean more noodles. What I'm going to be doing with these noodles is putting them into a 1-pot lasagna. So that's what I have in mind while I'm making them.
And to keep them from sticking, you can see I just have everything on a rack right here. I have some flour underneath all of this and I've just laid them out, tucking their little ends under. And then once we're ready for them, we'll get them cut and into the lasagna.
A couple of notes. The recipe that we used makes a ton of noodles. So I ended up making just a bunch of spaghetti and linguine noodles to be used at a later time. These are actually really easy to store. You just want to lay them out in such a way that you are able to store them later. How I ended up laying them out caused them to disintegrate into lots of pieces, so I wasn't able to save them for a later time. But if I had laid them out on a flat surface, I would have been able to save them for later. The other thing to keep in mind is what you're going to be storing them in. So how I had them laid out, even if I had been able to break them apart successfully, I still didn't have the proper storage container. So next time, what I would do for the lasagna noodles, if I wanted to save them, is lay them out on a flat surface. And for the linguine and spaghetti noodles, I would have put them in little nests, so they would have been easier to store. They only took like 12 to 24 hours to dry, so it was a very quick process. And they were exceptionally delicious. I made a pasta dish with the linguine noodles after they were dried, and it was so good. Definitely a richer taste.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and we can continue to hang out, and you can continue to figure out how to make every dish your own.